It's the 7th season of the ADAC GT4 Germany. The opening round was all the way back in April at Oschersleben. It's been a fairly lengthy break, but now we are finally back for round 2 of this championship. And what a way to come back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Norisring. We are in the streets of Nuremberg. It's the second time that we will have ever seen GT4 Germany featuring here on the bill on the DTM program. These cars looking spectacular around this circuit, which is like no other that you have seen before. A circuit that is 2.1 kilometers around. That equates to about 1.3 miles. It may be very different to Oschersleben, but the script is very, very similar because the SR Motorsport by Schnitzel Mercedes won both races at Oschersleben, and it's Enrico Förderer who, in qualifying this morning, placed that car on pole position. Another car that featured very well in Oschersleben, the number 17 Pro Sport Racing Aston Martin, finished in 6th place in race 2, with Marit Buchmann at the wheel, has tamed the streets of Nuremberg to qualify on the front row as well. But it was the dream championship start for Enrico Förderer and J-Mo Hertling. They got a maximum 50 out of 50 points at the season opener in Oschersleben, and are best placed to extend that lead here in round 2 of the season. They are at a circuit that is traditionally very difficult to overtake on, and with that 50 points in second place, Rafael Renhofer and Emil Heyerdahl in the number 92 car. They're starting about a third of the way back down through the pack, so they've got a bit of work to do as they try to close in. They've got a 14-point deficit, as indeed has Hugo Sasser and Roman Fellner-Feldegg. They too are struggling with handling with their Aston Martin. They were in joint second place with Rafael Renhofer and Emil Heyerdahl in the championship. 14 points adrift, but with the main championship leaders on pole position, they are going to take a bit of stopping. It is the first of 2 races for the ADAC GT4 Germany this weekend, and then after this weekend, the races come thick and fast all the way through to the Hockenheim closer at the beginning of October. The sun is shining, conditions are perfect, 30 degrees centigrade. Track conditions are dry, a 40.5 degrees centigrade temperature on the track. We are getting ready for 1 hour of racing for the ADAC GT4 Germany, race 3 of a 12-race season. It was back in 2021 that I had the privilege of covering this series along with Dave Richardson, and for 1 weekend only, he's back alongside me on commentating duties. Good afternoon, David Richardson. Welcome back to the ADAC GT4 Germany.
Norisring. What's not to like about this fantastic circuit? I love it. And thank you so much for inviting me back here. I don't know how I will ever repay you, truthfully, and to be here with GT4 as well in very good numbers to round out what has been a terribly exciting Saturday of motor racing here in the sunshine in front of a huge audience, which is always the case around the streets of the outer parts of the Nuremberg city, which I have to say, if you're contemplating a city break, combine it with this weekend in the summer when we race at Norisring. This will be a fantastic place to be here as Brian Oliver brings you the Driver Championship points right now.
Well, I've kind of done that already, but there's confirmation.
Don't then. As we look at the lighting gantry at the top of the screen.
Yes, it's going to be 2 formation laps. You can tell it's been a long day in the hot sunshine, can't you? We've had a great race on the DTM earlier on today. We've had Prototype Cup Germany. We've had Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. We've even had the electric next-gen cars out on track, amongst other things. This is the closing race, a bit later in the schedule than we're used to for ADAC GT4 Germany into the evening, but the big crowd on the terraces are ready to enjoy this on this circuit, which is 5 turns. There are 4 to the left and 1 to the right. It's essentially 2 hairpins joined by a couple of very long straights and a chicane chucked in the middle of one of the straights. It's as close to an oval as you're ever going to get in GT4 racing. but it is something absolutely spectacular. The cars now start on the first of their 2 formation laps. This race, which will be 1 hour in duration with a mandatory pit stop. And we'll tell you more about that pit stop as this race progresses. We ride on board with Denny Burns in the Razzoon More Than Racing Porsche. And you will remember last year, the Porsche was the absolute weapon to have. There were 6 Porsches that were in the first 6 places in the second race at the Norisring last year. It's the second time we've ever seen GT4 Germany here at the Norisring.
And taming these cars in this cauldron, if you like, this cathedral of motorsport, really, which is like what it is. As you said, it's the closest you'll get to an oval. It's like a stadium, isn't it? Because you have these very, very unforgiving barriers and concrete walls, thousands of spectators. Even inside the car, you can probably hear the roars from the terraces as the cars are going around this circuit. It is like no other racing, and I know that the GT4 are happy to be here. Here's the grid in full.
So it is Enrico Ferderer on pole position with Marit Buchmann alongside Mercedes versus Aston Martin. All Porsche on the next row. Denny Burn alongside Henrik Still. Keep an eye on both of those. They will be making progress during this race. On row 3, Berke Besler and Maxi Schreier line up alongside each other. Another of the Porsches at BMW there. Another all Porsche row. Rafael Renhofer, Lachlan Robinson on row 4. Row 5, Cedric Fuchs alongside Alon Gabet. And on row 6, Luca Bosco and Lewis Moser. On row 7 is Roman Felder-Feldegg. Bit of work to do from there with Tim Reiter for company, Maxi Tarillion and Benjamin Silvesterson on row 8. On row 9, Niels Trueger and Linus Harner. And then on row 10, Tobias Bieler-Clausen and Daniel Drexel. And then bringing up the rear, tough qualifying, but ready to do some work from there, Igor Litvinenko. The cars are lined up side by side. This is going to be spectacular. The safety car will very shortly peel off into the pit lane, and finally we can recommence season 2025. It's action all the way to the end of the season now as we get ready to go. Race 3 of the season, ADAC GT4 Germany here at the Norisring. 5 red lights on, and we are waiting for those 5 red lights off. We are go, and it's Enrique Ferderer who immediately moves across to block Marit Buchmann into turn 1. Now this is the trickiest corner on the circuit, the scene of many a controversy. Are we going to get all the cars around there? 3, 4 abreast going into that turn 1, and that is the other of the Schnitzeland Mercedes that's been tagged by Luca Bosco into the barrier. So that is Cedric Fuchs who is pointing towards the tyre wall. The fight is on. That is Denny Burns through into second place, but if that car can't get moving, then we will see a safety car. There are 2 other cars there just attending. Cedric Fuchs is able to get going, so I think we're able to get going. This is a very short lap, less than 50 seconds for these cars around this circuit in a lot of instances, but now finally Cedric Fuchs is able to get going. Let's have a look here further back. You can see he was on the inside. There was a little tag going into the corner. Luca Bosco was right up onto the curb, gave him a little punt. The stewards are already taking a look at that, and Luca Bosco, who was decidedly grumpy after the second race at Oschersleben, may well have an intervention from the stewards.
To be fair, I was about to say he kind of had nowhere to go, but actually he did. He took that inside line.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad I'm not a race steward, and that's going to be looked at. Another casualty, Brian?
And that is Lachlan Robinson. So he's into the pits. We saw him with a bit of contact into that corner as well. So maybe some damage there. But Enrico Ferderer leading the way once again. Up into second is Denny Burn. Look at Berke Besler into third place in the BMW. That's very good. Maxi Schreier in fourth ahead of Henrik Still and Marit Buchmann. But a lot of the drivers trying to make some places up in the opening laps of the race while the field is closed together. You can see challenges along the pit straight. We're on board with Luca Bosco. He's in 12th place at the moment, but remember, he is under investigation. looking down on that tricky turn one, the Grundig turn, the cars in the evening sunshine entertaining us here at the Norisring. But a great start from Berke Besler, I have to say. He started on the third row of the grid in 5th place, so he's made up a couple of places and kept out of trouble so far. Maxi Schreier in that 4th place. Race leader Enrico Ferderer, Denny Byrne keeping him honest. Having said that, he has just broken clear slightly. Now, a false start under investigation. That's for Benjamin Silvesterson. So, a false start potentially means a breaking rank before the lights turned green, or maybe not passing through their grid boxes, which is what they are meant to do. So the stewards will have a look at that. Now, Denny Byrne, who had jumped up into that 2nd place, looking, to me, vulnerable to Berke Besler.
I think I would agree with that, and I think you're right to point out how well Berke Besler has done right from the very start of this race, and he's a danger man here. Now, I think that Denny Byrne is potentially thinking more and focusing more about what's happening behind him than what's in front of him, and therefore that means that he's playing into the hands of Berke Besler, perhaps to the hands of Schreier as well, as Berke Besler goes for it. That was a bold and ambitious move on the inside, determined and actually clean and tidy.
I think that's what we'd call a textbook move.
Yes,
second place. So Berke Besler in the number 21 car, the Turkish driver in the BMW, moving up a position, feels very much at home here at the Norisring in the ADAC GT4 Germany. So it's Mercedes leading BMW from Porsche, from Porsche, from Porsche. There is Aston Martin up there as well, but the car's now settling down into single file. And while we have a moment to remind you, there is a pit window that will open 25 minutes into the race, and that pit window will stay open for 10 minutes, and we can see penalty incoming for Luca Bosco.
That's, to be fair, that's kind of a slam dunk, isn't it? Now, the penalty lap 3 times for causing a collision. I'll rely on my learned friend alongside me to explain what exactly a penalty lap means, and if you've got to do it 3 times.
We've also got 1 time as well, and that's for Benjamin Silvesterson for a false start, but that is passing through the penalty box as we see another one of the Porsches in the pit lane. That is, I'm trying to see who that is. We've also lost Maxi Tarillion. The box is painted on the exit of turn 1. Now let's have a look here. The false start, breaking rank early. You see that Benjamin Silvesterson had just ducked out of the queue early. The stewards are very strict on that, but the drivers who receive a penalty lap need to pass through the penalty box at no more than 50 kilometers an hour. It's a box painted off the racing line on the exit of turn 1. You can see it on the left-hand side there.
And that's being executed right now.
Yeah, that's a great example of that. Passing through at no more than 50 kilometers an hour. It's the equivalent to adding 5 seconds onto their lap time. Now, 3 visits through that for Luca Bosco. That is a disaster for him. And it was for that moment there where the SR Motorsport, the Schnitzland by SR Motorsport Mercedes got turned around. So he will have to do that on 3 consecutive laps. So that really is going to drop him to the back of the pack.
As you say, that was a textbook overtaking replay. Seeing that all over again, that looked really, really good, did it not?
Oh, absolutely. And Berke Besler, who is a pretty experienced pilot. We've seen him in a number of disciplines over the years. We saw him in Prototype Cup Germany not that long ago, but very much at home. He's got a very experienced teammate alongside him as well. They're into the penalty box once again. Luca Bosco is going to really feel that one. He's going to see the cars coming up close in his rearview mirror. Well, that tells you how much he's lost, because Cedric Fuchs, who was the car that was turned around, has been able to catch up with him. Is he going to return the compliment?
You never know.
Not. Yeah, well, otherwise Fuchs will be parked up in the penalty box as well.
We've seen funnier things.
We have, or not so funny in some cases. I don't know how many of those penalty laps Bosco has taken. You think it's 2?
2.
It's either that or he's been very rude to me with his hand signals. But whichever way, if he does have to do another one, then it is going to be advantage Cedric Fuchs, although he is a lot further back than he intended to be at this point of the race. Enrico Ferderer, his teammate, is leading the way. 1.867. So Berke Besler, going to keep an eye on that gap. Besler, whose teammate, his co-driver, is Gabriella Piana, the most experienced driver in the field. In fact, Gabriella Piana is the only driver to have ever started every single GT4 Germany race that there's ever been. It's a record that can never be broken. He has been in it from the beginning, and he has started every single race that there's ever been in GT4 Germany. And he's very experienced. He's a former champion in this series as well, and he'll be taking over from Berke Besler. So Enrique Forderer in the number 11 car, along with Jamo Hertling, his co-driver, may well tremble in fear at the sight of that BMW behind them. We see another challenge for position, although overcooking it into the corner. That's Lewis Moser, the Austrian driver in the number 40 Razzoon More Than Racing BMW. It was Tim Reiter that he was challenging. He got past him briefly, but couldn't get it slowed down.
Never going to get that car slowed down and rotated, unfortunately, and that went all south for him, didn't it?
We'll put that one down to experience. So Tim Reiter, a very experienced driver, and he knew exactly what he was doing. You just do your thing.
Absolutely.
You do your thing, and I'll just cruise around this corner.
It's keeping cool, isn't it, and knowing how that's going to end up, and that's exactly what Tim did.
I think the main thing is if he locks up, is not being in the line of fire, and Tim Reiter is experienced to know that as well. Right, here we come, looking back from the perspective, just heading in towards turn 1. The hairpin, there it is. So challenges further back. That is the 7th place Raphael Renhofer. We've seen him in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany this year. We've also seen him in the ADAC GT4 Germany over the last couple of years. A very, very useful pilot. He got a 2nd and a 3rd place at Oschersleben. So a 7th place here will feel like something of a debit. He'll want to be moving forwards. He's got Marit Buchmann up ahead of him. Buchmann, who's more used to driving a Mercedes AMG, still getting used to that Aston Martin, I think, in the number 17 car. But doing a good job in 6th place. Ahead of them is Henrik Still. Henrik Still, who shares with Philip Gogolok, and he is in that 5th place. Out along the start-finish line, we come once again. Forderer is certainly keeping Besler in mind. He's opened up the gap to about 2 seconds.
Yep, Forderer getting Forderer ahead, 2.001. To be absolutely honest, overtake there going into that turn as the curb was hugged really rather royally there. And you can, there are people that say on such a short circuit, how can the racing be any good? It's utterly brilliant. There are places you can overtake. There are places when you can ill afford to overtake, but actually some make it happen. And all of it taking place on one of the shortest circuits that we know, and certainly the shortest on the GT4 Germany calendar. And here he is. It was set up. Oh, and that's illustrative of just some of the bumps on this street circuit.
I mean, these roads are used by the public all year round, so cars and pedestrians are on this for most of the year, and then the roads are closed off, the barriers are put up. It takes them a couple of weeks to set this up, about 10,000 man-hours to build it, and that is Linus Harner on board in the ME Motorsport. Marcus Eicheller's team just making that position in the number 77 car, giving Alain Gabet, was that a little tap on the way through in the number 30 car? Getting past that Porsche and moving up into 8th place. So Linus Harner, great to have him. He had a couple of 7th places at Oschersleben. If make it 1 place forwards from here, it'll have 3 7th places, but Raphael Renhofer might have something to say about that. So there is Raphael Renhofer in the Wimmer Werk Porsche, and all the Wimmer Werk guys who've had an intense training camp in Denmark over the last few weeks. I saw some videos from it, and they were properly put through their paces.
Taking it very seriously.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got to do that, haven't you? So, what do we got? 47.25 minutes of this ADAC GT4 Germany race still to come, and it's far from all over yet. And, of course, we have got that pit window to come as here comes another overtake, potentially.
That is, once again, the number 40 car, Lewis Moser, this time getting it slowed down. Tim Reiter coming back again in the 66 car. But Moser, he had a dress rehearsal before, didn't he? But this time he made it stick. But Tim Reiter in the similar BMW. Boy, that was a little kiss of the wall there from Lewis Moser.
Side by side here, absolutely. Tim Reiter is not having any of this.
No.
What a brilliant battle. And I remind you, this battle is further down the order, but it is an awesome battle. And for the moment, all Tim Reiter can see is the gearbox of the car ahead of him. Disappointment, I'm sure. Is he going to come again?
I would just say, to give you a bit of perspective here, this is Tim Reiter's 46th race in GT4 Germany. This is Lewis Moser's third race in GT4 Germany. The young upstarts, they do like to show a clean pair of heels. That's a nice bit of drifting. You get onto that pavement, that concrete pavement, and the back end starts to slide. But he timed that to absolute perfection. And hats off to Lewis Moser. Very entertaining driving. Not necessarily the quickest round the corner, but he's fended off the vastly more experienced Tim Reiter and is into the top 10.
I'm so thrilled that we can see all those replays because that was poetry in motion, if I'm honest with you. I love it when racing drivers have to use what we call opposite lock to control a slide. Beautiful stuff. Federer then is 2.898 seconds to the good, or he was last time he went over a timing segment, and we're not done here yet.
That's Rafael Renhofer challenging for 6th place. Marit Buchmann in the green Aston Martin. We're on board with Linus Harner again, who has a good view of this fight that is going on ahead of him. So Marit Buchmann there in the number 17 car. Rafael Renhofer did have a little look, looking a little bit impatient. Of course, Renhofer is a former winner in the ADAC GT4 Germany, but so is Marit Buchmann, albeit in a different brand of car.
Do you not think if you saw that in your rearview mirror, the Aston Martin, which looks so mean and aggressive across the front, you just almost think about making way, because it really looks utterly awesome. It really does, although it's under some pressure right now, Brian.
Rafael Renhofer having a little look in towards turn 1, maybe picking up a slipstream because they're getting some big speeds into turn 1, over 200 kilometers an hour, under braking into turn 1. A look to the inside, ducks back to the outside, trying to force Marit Buchmann into making a mistake, but all of this is letting Linus Harner close in while they are fighting against each other. The car in front breaks away, the car behind closes in.
It's always the way, isn't it? Linus Harner, currently running in P8, doesn't need much of an invitation to join this three-way fight that's going on, and he's right on it now, Brian. So yes, all of a sudden it was a duel between two drivers. It becomes a triple play as they all want to have a go here to try and wrestle away that P6 position.
And all of that is a gift for Henrik still in 5th place, who breaks clear, and it's also a bit of a gift for Alon Gabet in the number 30 car, who's behind Linus Harner, so he will be closing in as well on this battle, but that's the one we're focused on at the moment. Marit Buchmann, he is in 6th place in the green Aston Martin. Behind him, Rafael Renhofer. The orange and white Porsche has a look to the outside. The only fan-sponsored car posting racy videos of their racing in 7th place, in 8th place. Thank you for that. Linus Harner. I am on the naughty step. The battle for 6th place continues. Right, under braking into the corner. This is further back, so that is Daniel Drexel, and Tobias Bieler-Clausen is the driver who has benefited from that.
To be fair to Drexel, he left him racing room. He could have so easily shut the door and said, naff off, but he didn't.
He had double reason, because Tobias Bieler-Clausen may have just given him a little bit of a tap on the shoulder. You saw the blue smoke rising up in the background, I think very wisely. The car behind, that's Roman Felder-Feldegg, just keeping out of the way.
Guy I know that educates people in racing called Donut, and that was a donut move if ever I saw one.
I've just had a warning from our producer, so there we go. Out along to the pit straight we come into turn 1. Enrique Federer leading the way, 3.037. Berke Besler just behind him. We are 7 minutes away from the pit window opening. It will be a 10-minute window, and then the drivers in that 10-minute window, everyone will need to come in for a mandatory stop and a driver change, as Rafael Renhofer is looking under pressure from Linus Harner. That fight for 6th, 7th, 8th place, you get a feeling this is going to rage on all the way through until the pit window opens, and the teams may decide to keep drivers out longer or bring them in quickly when the pit window opens. Maybe an attempt to do an undercut, or maybe an attempt to maximize the driver they perceive to be fastest in the duo. The pit stop is not a performance pit stop. There is a minimum pit stop time of 95 seconds, so it's all quite chilled, and it's really going to mix things up once that pit window opens. You've got all that to come in about 6.5 minutes. In the meantime, Enrique Federer making hay while the sun shines ahead of Berke Besler. Denny Bird in that third place, and then Maxi Schreier and Hendrik Still.
Awesome, absolutely awesome racing that we're enjoying here at the Norisring. This wonderful, it's called the Franconian Monaco.
Yes.
And it's not a lie, to be honest with you. And the racing that we're being treated to from our ADAC GT4 Germany is first class.
It really is. So, about 5.5 minutes to go before the pit window opens, and we're looking down at turn 1. Yeah, it's all excitement here at the Norisring, the first of 2 races this weekend for these wonderful cars.
Absolutely awesome stuff that we're enjoying. Now, as you can see, I have been, if I'm honest with you, surprised that Berke Besler has not got on better terms with Förderer, who is P1 at the moment. The P2 driver, Denny Burnt, running in P3. Then it's Schreier that's running P4. Hendrik Still steadfast in that P5 position.
Very good he is too in the number 1 car. Of course, the Avia W&S team are the defending champions in the ADAC GT4 Germany. Last year's champions have moved on. That's Jo Sivnop and Finn Zulav. We're going to have a fresh name on the trophy, certainly compared to last year, as we continue to look at this battle. Raphael Renhofer in the 92 car. Linus Harner there as well. So Renhofer has made a route past Linus Harner into that 7th place. In towards turn 1, Linus Harner challenging for that position.
This is Maxi Turillian and Litvinenko.
We are further swapped around.
No,
identical cars.
Absolutely identical. You can be forgiven for making that small error of judgment. And now let's go to where you were thinking we were at, which was Linus Moser. You're absolutely right. Identical looking cars. I was just going to say, Maxi Turillian, who I've often said is a really, really talented young driver, but dare I say it, hugging around in P20 at the moment.
Yeah, that's not what he had in mind when he got out of bed this morning. I've no doubt about that. Right, okay, gather yourselves together, everybody. There is Lewis Moser in 11th place. Ahead of him, Tim Reiter, Alain Gabet in 9th, Linus Harner in 8th, Raphael Renhofer in 7th. That is the battle that has been raging on. The number 30 car of Alain Gabet very much in the fight there with Tim Reiter, putting the pressure onto him in the number 66. Behind
Here he comes.
Right. So BMW versus Porsche. The BMW has a look to the outside into the Dutzendijk corner, and then out across towards turn 5, a corner that is taken absolutely flat out.
You know who's going to win out of this little trio, don't you?
Go on.
It's going to be Harner, in my opinion.
Yes, well, he is in a position where he is not defending from anybody. Tim Reiter looks to the left, looks to the right, in towards turn 1. He opts for the outside line. Alain Gabet just protecting that racing inside line. Out of turn 1 they come, out towards the Scholar S once again. Still, brilliant defence from Alain Gabet, but how much longer can he fend off that BMW?
To be fair, Gabet has got track position. It's his right to protect his line, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and he just needs to position that where it is, keep doing that, and it's going to make it very difficult for Tim Reiter to get past. But of course, Reiter trying to pressure him into missing a braking point, making a mistake.
But what can often happen is that Reiter just gets a little bit frustrated, and he's the one that ends up making a mistake, and there could be contact between the two of them, which is why I think Arne could be the one that's going to be the beneficiary, although he's dropped back a little bit now from that ensuing battle.
Yeah, that is, in fact, Moser, who's just behind, but he has just dropped back now to the outside. Tim Reiter tries to go deep, and that is exactly what you said. Misses his braking point, goes deep into the corner, and opens the door for Lewis Moser to come sailing through in the number 40 car. So Moser up a position, Tim Reiter down a position. Let's have another look here. Took that wide line into turn 1, under braking, couldn't get it slowed down.
Couldn't get it slowed down, couldn't get it rotated. It's what we in the motorsport industry call a Horlicks.
An absolute Horlicks. Look how deep into the corner Alain Gabet went.
Yeah.
So he missed the apex by some distance as well. So that wasn't the optimal gentleman path through that corner. If you look there, it was off camera on that shot, but Tim Reiter exploring downtown Nuremberg. Look how much lock he's got on that BMW there, desperately trying to keep it out of the wall, but that has just relegated him down a position. Right, this is further back in, that's Roman Feldegg there in 17th place. Cedric Fuchs has caught up with him. Just ahead of them is Daniel Drexel in the 16th place. Just ahead of them is Luca Bosco after his extended period in the penalty box, but he's a long way back. This is a long way back from what he's doing. There is Luca Bosco there, exit at turn 1, but this is a great battle here. Daniel Drexel. Meanwhile, we go back to the front. Berke Besler has been caught by Denny Bernter. Enrico Federer has opened up the gap, 4.477, and Besler now falling back into the clutches of Denny Burnt.
Yes, Burnt really is looking much more lively here, isn't he, as we ride on board here. Brilliant shots that we're able to bring you in this ADAC GT4 Germany race then. And it's Besler versus Burnt. That's the battle that we're watching. It's a battle for P2 in this race. I remind you that the pit window is about to open.
So that's a view into turn 1.
A bit of a take that.
Yeah, there may have been a little helping hand there from the number 12 car. Cedric Fuchs. Have some of that.
There's a gap there. Maybe not.
I'm going to give a belated happy birthday to Roman Feldegg. It was his birthday last Thursday. It's a great day to have a birthday. I'll say no more than that. But down in 17th place is not the gift that he was looking for. The pit window is open already. Berke Besler is getting ready to hand over to Gabriella Piana.
They're going to try for an undercut here, do you think?
Potentially, and also Gabriella Piana, very experienced.
Yes.
Get out, he can get the hot laps in. Berke Besler still very much learning the ropes in GT4 racing. Although he's experienced as a pilot, I think he's still learning the ropes in this particular discipline.
Okay.
And I think the team will want to get Gabriella Piana to try and do an undercut on the cars around. So, a couple of cars blinking. Niels Truger is into the pits as well. He's handing over to Andreas Jochimsen. So no great hurry here. To remind you, 95 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. Right, more cars coming in. So Igor Litvinenko, he's not coming in. Daniel Drexel is, though. Roman Feldegg, now he's going to be handing over to Hugo Sasser. Cedric Fuchs, I should think he's had enough for the day. Joel Mesh will be standing by to jump into the number 12 car.
So a lot of activity going on, but a lot of activity in the pit lane. There's plenty going on out there on the track as well as this little trio continue trading places.
Finally, Alain Gabet loses that position to Tim Reiter. Finally getting it done after that little excursion going off wide earlier on. So he is through. Yeah, there's a bit of damage on the back of that, as pointed out by Dave. There may have been
an assist there.
An assist. We would say a love tap, maybe. Right, here's our leader, Enrique Federer. He has an open track in front of him. He has an open track behind him. Has no reason to come into the pits at the moment.
The point I was going to make. Keep Federer out for as long as you can, I would have thought. And, you know, just extending the margin, taking advantage of the relatively clear track, even putting in some quali laps to really reinforce and concrete that position. Now, the incident between car 66 and car 30 is under investigation. There's no surprise there.
Yes,
it was.
The evidence.
I'm sorry to say there was.
Hunting was seen by all. Rafael Renhover is in. This is significant. He's handing up to Emil Heyerdahl in the Wimmer Werk Motorsport Porsche. Linus Harner is in. He is handing over to Tommy Rackel. This is his home race. He's been looking forward to this one for flipping ages. Tommy getting behind the wheel of the number 77 car, and he'll be delighted to finally take to the streets of his home race. Rafael Renhofer, we've already said. Linus Harner, we've already said. Looking to see who else is done. Piana's out onto the track again, having taken over from Berke Besler. Hugo Sasser is out onto the track. He's
got to give the position back, Brian.
Yeah, so the steward's getting involved. Car 66 is allowed to get past car 30. So they've decided that that was not a legal manoeuvre. It's not actually quite what we were expecting, really. Now, how does that work? Because he's now peeled off into the pits. He will argue, well, he can't give the place back because he's into the pits. That one's a bit of a head scratcher going on there. Out of the into the pit lane comes Tim Reiter in the number 66.
So it was Tim Reiter that had got to give the position back. Is that correct?
No, well, I read it the other way
I'm
round.
sorry, yes.
But it might not be. I would just say, though, we've got a red P. Nobody likes red P because in 14th place, Emil Heyerdahl has gone potentially below the minimum pit stop time. At least he and Rafael Renhofer, between them, have gone below the minimum pit stop time. And you're spotted something there, haven't you?
No, well, it's car 66. Reiter has got to change positions with car number 30, which is Gabay. Well, of course, it's not going to be Tim Reiter now, is it?
No.
The point that you were making. Have you ever experienced this situation before? Because I'm not sure I have.
No, I haven't. Where they duck into the pits just as the instruction to swap positions is given, and our stewards will have to.
There must be some sporting code for that, mustn't there?
There must be, and the stewards will maybe have to use a bit of discretion. Right, a penalty lap, I'm afraid, has been awarded to number 92, so Emil Heyerdahl. This is not the way he planned to start his career at the Norris ring. He's going to have to visit the penalty box for going below the minimum pit stop time. So that is going to drop that car further down the order. Still out on track at the moment. Enrique Federer has 5.25 minutes, and I suggest he might wish to carry on till late in the window. Philip Viskersen has taken over from Tim Reiter. I have to say 10 out of 10 to Tim Reiter for entertainment. Lewis Moser now into the pits. He's had a good run. Lawrence Rule will be taking over the Razzoon More Than Racing BMW. You can see we've still got 10 cars who are yet to come into the pits. I think we've lost Maxi Tarillian and Lachlan Robinson. They are showing as not running at the moment. Having said that, Robinson showed his pit out, but I think that might just be a glitch on the timing screen. But there is the number 12 car of Joel Mesh fighting for position further back in the pack. So, Moser, the clock counting down for him. We've still got 10 cars yet to pit. We are into the second half of this thoroughly entertaining race here for the ADAC GT4 Germany. Cedric Joel Mesh, should I say, took over from Cedric Fuchs in the number 12 car. Now running wheel to wheel with the Porsches. Luca Link, I believe, that he has just made the move on in the number 20 car. I'm just going to double check that. Yes, the number 20. Luca Link, who took over from Daniel Drexel. They're fighting for position, and it will all shake out once the other cars have pitted. Tobias Bilak Clausen now into the pits as well. He is handing over to Axel Bengston.
Glad you're across it.
No, really not.
No, I think you are. I think you're doing a fine job, and I'm in awe and envy of your ability to perform so very, very well. We've got 3.5 minutes remaining in the pit window. It's going to be a very, very busy pit lane with those that haven't stopped yet are going to come in. They've only got 3.5 minutes to do that.
Igor Litvinenko is in, and he's going to be swapping the seat into Oscar Dix. There is the blue smoke driving into the air. So I think Luca Link giving the squeeze. I think that is what is known as. We saw him. We've seen him previously in a prototype. We saw him doing a guest run in GT4 last year, and here he is just trying to make that car as wide as possible. I'd love to tell you who that is.
One moment.
I think it is Joseph Ellerine. Actually, I was thinking Joseph Ellerine. Yes, it is. I'm looking at the badge, but I thought that already. So Joseph Ellerine getting suited and booted, and he is getting ready to jump behind the wheel of one of the BMWs.
Hands device goes on, head and neck support, that stands for. Fireproof balaclava, of course, crash helmet, now the gloves as well.
He'll be taking over the number 23 car. I'm not looking at my notes. So Benjamin Silvesterson. Right, into the pits comes our race leader. So Enrique Federer is in. Jamo Hertling will be limbering up in the background, getting ready to jump into the seat of that Mercedes. It promotes Hendrik Still up to second place and then into the lead. Marit Buchmann promoted up to second, but they will also need to come in for their mandatory stops. So Denny Burnt also in the number 10 car, handing over to Max Rozam. So lots of changes going on here. Alon Gabay is in, and Alon Gabay is handing it over to Tommy Gore, Jamaica to the world, as Tommy Gore gets behind the wheel of the number 30 car. So the clocks tick down for these drivers. The number 32 car also in, Maxi Schreier handing over to Luciana Schneider. And we will then just have 4 cars that we're waiting to make their mandatory stops. So, J-Mo Hurtling in the number 11 car. Just waiting.
J-Mo B there. He's in the car now, isn't he? He's ready to go. And this must be the most frustrating thing in the world. You have to sit there until the time has elapsed. And we've already seen what happens if you shortcut it, Brian.
Absolutely. The temptation would be to just go. But you can't. You want to hit the white line when the clock strikes 0. What, we've got more in. Marit Bookman is also into the pits now, handing over to Anton Abbey. So everybody has now pitted or is pitting, with the exception of Hendrik Still. He's stretching it out here. He's going to have to come in next time around. Currently the race leader cutting it close to the mark, don't you think? Right, this could be significant here. So that's Gabriele Piana in the BMW, fighting with Max Rosam. So Rosam, currently we're on board with Max Rosam. Gabriele Piana in 6th place. Now Piana, well, it was Piana who'd got past Rosam originally, couldn't get the thing slowed down, and the Porsche was able to come back at him. I'm looking to see.
Just pointing out an incident that's come up on race control for you to have a look at, please. On account of the fact I haven't got my glasses on, I can't read the message so far, but that's all about forcing another car, isn't it? I think we can remember what incident that was.
That'll be Joel Mesh and Luca Link, who are under investigation. Indeed. Right, where is Hendrik Still? Has he made it in time? I sincerely hope so. Yes, he has. So he will be handing over to Philip Gogolok, another hugely talented racer who won at the Red Bull Ring last year. That was an emotional race, wasn't it? Now at the wheel of an entirely different car. There we are. There is Hendrik Still out of the car. Philip Gogolok, who is now into the car. I spoke to him earlier. He was saying the summer break, or the extended break between rounds 1 and 2, has helped him enormously. He's finishing his exams and the educational system. He didn't know how it was going to work. In fact, his exams finished last week and he was able to give it full focus. Now he's able to focus on racing all the way through to the end of the season. He's behind the wheel of the number 1 ADAC Motorsport Porsche 718 Cayman GT4, and now he waits and he'll attempt to get to the exit line of the pits when the clock strikes 0. It means that re-inheriting the lead is car number 11, the SR Motorsport Schnitzeland Mercedes, this time with J-Mo Hurtling at the wheel.
It's car exits the pit lane now.
No! So Philip Gogolok, oh dear, may have been, and I'm thinking we're talking about thousandths of a second.
That we are.
It's gone red. The clock says 0, but I think it might be 001.
Oh no!
So that is subject to confirmation. The stewards will no doubt take a look at it. But Philip Gogolok, who's taken over from Hendrik Still, a sterling job by Hendrik Still. Gogolok, hugely talented, and if this one does go below, it'll be a visit to the penalty box. He cannot let that distract him at the moment, because coming out of the pit stop sequence very well indeed, Luciana Schneider, same from Maxi Schreier. Where have they come from? That is the question I would ask, because they suddenly popped up into 4th place. Also, Max Rosam, who took over from Daniel Drexel, from Denny Burnt, I beg your pardon, also coming out of the pit stop sequence well. Right, J-Mo Hurtling leading, Gabriele Piana 7.454 behind. Let's have a look at that gap. We'll see whether that comes down at all. Car number 1 under investigation for pit stop time. Well, no surprises there. Here comes our race leader at the moment. So it was 7.454 last time. Let's see what it is. Out across the line comes the race leader. How far behind is Gabriele Piana? We've got a bit of a wait here. 7.454 was the gap last time. Has he been able to close it up? No, he hasn't. 0.4 of a second adrift from where he was. 7.830 this time. And in fact, if anything, maybe falling into the clutches of Max Rosam a little.
I think Max Rosam is getting closer to Gabriele Piana. And as you predicted, penalty lap 1 time, pit stop time for car number 1.
That'll be Philip Gogolok, and that is such a shame after so much hard work.
Taking it straight away.
Yeah, well, just get it done, get it dusted, because if a safety car came out and the field closed up, you would lose so many places.
Fair point.
So,
right.
I think if you're on open track, you want to get it done out of the way and not risk a safety car and then having to serve it after the safety car when you would lose 10 places.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So Gogolov rejoins. He dropped down to 7th, so it's not a disaster. He needs to turn the hazards off. He's told everybody he's been in and he's come out. But it is not exactly what they were looking for, and Henrik still will also be frustrated after such a solid start to the race.
I also think you're right. I think it was probably down to 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah.
But rules is rules.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to look at the pit stop time, and it was, I think...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Strife here, Brian.
Yeah, someone has made contact with the wall. That's
Luciano.
car. So Luciano Schneider has made contact, dropping a lot of fluid there as well. Right, what's happened? This has been unaided, hasn't it? Just getting it wrong. And, oof. That will not have done the car a lot of favours. That is such a shame. Out of 4th place after such a sterling drop.
Oh, and that's how much the concrete walls move.
Yes,
0.
They don't. And,
oh, this is going to be a shot and a half.
Did the camera survive? Well, the camera did. That's more than we said for the car. That is a seriously bent Porsche.
Yeah.
And I think the team are going to be working hard on that.
And critically, as you say, I mean, in fairness...
Oh, he stopped out on track.
Luciano has got to the inside so that the fluid being dropped from the car was not on the racing line. So credit to him for that.
But depending on where he is, we may well see a safety car here. It's out on the pit straight, I think.
Job to tell. Let's see. So we continue on our way.
Yeah, so if we get a safety car, then Philip Gogolok, full course yellow. Okay, 8 seconds. Just keep an eye on that. 0.079, 8.079 between first and second. And that is a real shame. So if it had gone to safety car, Gogolok really would be happy that he'd got his penalty out of the way quickly. Of course, the safety car is a bit of a dream ticket because it means that everybody has another punt trying to get past the car in front because they're closed up. So full course yellow, not what many were hoping for, exactly what Jamo Hertling was hoping for, as Gabriel Piana in 2nd place. Well, he's now dropped to about 12 seconds. But of course, everybody accelerates and decelerates at a different time. You're not meant to brake hard when the full course yellow comes out. You're meant to just lift off the accelerator. But the car's slow at different times and in different places. So we'll see what it is when we go green. But I think this might take a few moments to clear up, and I wouldn't be surprised if actually this did end up as a full safety car. We do sometimes do that.
Yes, and if it did, who would be the beneficiaries? The likes of Max Roseman, Gabriella Piana.
Absolutely, they would be. While we have a moment, with the pit stops all done and dusted, let's just give you a rundown. Jamo Hertling leading from Gabriella Piana, Max Rosam in 3rd. There's your podium positions. Tommy Rackle on his home race in 4th place. He'd be delighted with that, I think. Anton Abe in 5th. Philip Gogolok, despite an intimate moment with the penalty box, is in 6th place ahead of Emil Heyerdahl, Philip Viskersen, Andreas Jochimsen. Tommy Gore rounding out the top 10. I know an awful lot of fans in Jamaica will be yelling at their screens. I know there's a lot of people joining us in Jamaica watching this. Lawrence Ruhl in 11th ahead of Joseph Ellerine. Julian Potolo, I spoke to him a little earlier. He's very frustrated. He's like, we just haven't got the straight line speed. And the number 8 BWT Mucker Mercedes, he just said, we don't know why. Had the same kind of problem at Oschersleben, and they're still looking for answers. He's down in 13th. Very much a championship favourite coming into this event. Julia Potolo.
That was from a different angle, seeing that car making contact with the barriers. And it just snapped away the front end, didn't it? And then, but critically, debris and coolant being distributed across the track,
which is why I was thinking we might end up.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right because. Yeah, that's right on the exit, isn't it?
Oh, no. Well, it says full course yellow ending in 10 seconds.
Oh,
no.
Well, we're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say the sun is quite low in the sky, and it's going to be in the eyes of the drivers, particularly along the back straight. That is not going to brush out with T-Car. That's going to be a bit of work to be done there. I was doing the rundown. 14th, Axel Bengston. Hugo Sasser down in 15th place. Another one who's a bit frustrated. Joel Mesh, Luca Link, Oscar Dix, all a lap down. lots still to come. We've still got just under 17 minutes plus 1 lap remaining of this race.
Hartling is going to be up against traffic very, very soon, Brian. Is that going to play into the hands of Piana and Rosen? But of course, they're going to experience the traffic as well.
It may well do that. But as you say, everybody has got to dice with the traffic. That was one of the BMWs having a wobbly moment. Goglock's still got the hazard lights flashing. Well, it makes a change from the headlights, doesn't it? So challenging the number 17 car of Anton Abbé. That is for 5th place. So you get a feeling that Goglock is maybe throwing caution to the wind here. Sometimes the visits to the penalty box is exactly what a driver needs to give him a boost. On board with Julien Apotolo in the number 8 car, BWT MX Motorsport. At the wrong end of the grid for what he considers he wants to be. Into turn 1. This is Philip Gogolock looking to the outside of Anton Abbé. The number 17 car ahead of them is Tommy Rackle. So continuing his march forwards, a little bit of a wobble there, but he's got that inside line into the Skoda S. The Porsche just muscling his way through, but coming back, the number 17 car fighting hard to hold on to that position. Anton Abbé, Philip Gogolock, side by side along the back straight they come in towards the Dursendijk turn. Abbé has the inside line, but Gogolock tried to go the long way round the outside. I think Avia WNS will be watching this from behind a pillar. They've already got 1 car to repair overnight. Let's not make it 2. Now the drag race along the pit straight. Gogolock with a nose in front, moving across just slightly, giving the squeeze to Anton Abbé. The last of the late breakers into turn 1. Abbé has track position. He has the advantage. Gogolock has to drop back, but there's a BMW behind. It's Andreas Jochimsen who tries to come through and take both of them. A great move from Julien Apotolo, but great racing. Still advantage Anton Abbé. He has worked his way through into that position. Andreas Jochimsen getting past Philip Gogolock, relegating him down into 7th place. We're not done yet. Gogolock is coming back. Great stuff here from GT4 Germany, side by side. Gogolock has the inside line into the corner. He's going to give the Beamer a squeeze. He does just that.
This is utterly, utterly brilliant driving.
Come on,
there's the width of a cigarette paper between most of these drivers. Really, really tidy racing. Gogolock is an absolute star here. Brilliant.
Under braking into turn 1. Andreas Jochimsen finally has to yield, and the Porsche is through. Utter entertainment. And the number 17 car, Anton Abbé, is 10th place. So spat out and shoved to the back. In fact, Tommy Gore's also got through, as has Philip Viskirchen. Emil Heyerdahl up there as well. Good job, despite all the traumas earlier on. So the 92 car also up there, but we're not done yet. There's still more to come.
Absolutely awesome. This is loving this race. What a battle between 8 or 9 drivers. Apollo that we're on board with right now gives us a fantastic vantage of the 2 ahead, going side by side across the start-finish line, heading in towards the Grundig turn, which, as we know, is always something of a funnel. Do you think you could throw anything more at this?
Lawrence Rule comes around the corner, drive it like you stole it. That's what they say, isn't it? So Lawrence Rule also there as well. I think Tommy Gore might have been a casualty from that, as he is shuffled down through the back. At the front of that queue at the moment, Anton Abbé in 9th place in the Aston Martin. But what great racing, great mature racing as well. The drivers respecting each other, giving each other the space that they need. Tommy Gore fighting back in the Porsche as well. He's on the outside. Julien Apotolo, he has to drop in behind him. So Gore in 13th, Apotolo in 12th. In the evening sunshine, the audience, those who have stayed on to watch this, the last race of the day, will have been thoroughly entertained here at the Norisring. Still, the fighting continues. Tommy Gore has a little look to the outside of Julien Apotolo. Also there, Axel Bengston in the number 18 BWT pink car. So into the Scholar S we come once again.
This has been a remarkable race, which, if I'm honest with you, it was entertaining ahead of the pit stops. It's been entertaining with a capital N after the pit window opened. I mean, from there on in, it has been awesome. I've lost count of how many overtakes we've seen. And as you rightly said, drivers, generally speaking, offering respect to their competitors. It's been really, really good time racing and some great overtakes. And, wow, really impressed with so many of these drivers who, I have to be honest, have taken opportunities where sometimes I didn't see there as being an opportunity.
Opportunist racing indeed. I wish we could give additional points for entertainment because there'd be a real change then. At the top, though, at the top of the championship and at the top of this race, J-Mo Hurtling continues to lead the way. Gabriele Piana, 9.7 seconds back, so not making inroads. I think maybe second could be as good as it's going to get. We do have still 11 minutes of this remaining, plus 1 lap. Max Rozan in third place. Tommy Rackle in that solid fourth. I'm looking to see where Rackle is. He's a little way back from Max Rozan, 9.1 seconds. So he would love to get on the podium for his home race, but not looking too likely at the moment unless one of the top three have a moment, but that could happen. Still plenty of action to come here.
Bit of damage on the back of the Aston Martin, I could see there with that rear splitter really jumping up and down. See if you can take a look at this as they exit the turn.
Anton Abbey at the wheel of that car is not going to improve the handling at all.
No, and I think it is playing, it is hurting because I think he is becoming very vulnerable now.
Yeah, Lawrence Rule in the number 40 car has just driven around it, so that's going to affect the handling. But Rule losing the back end does well to keep the car out of the barrier. But that was a wild ride there.
3 abreast behind, and let's go there.
So Julien Apotolo is in the middle of that fight. So continuing further back, we're in the lower reaches of the points, but Apotolo, a mega talented driver, along with Luca Bosco, coming into this season, very much pre-season favourites. These two drivers a little way back in the pack than they expected to be, but now pushing forwards. Great racecraft from Julien Apotolo in the number 8 car. Up ahead of him, he can see Lawrence Roll and Joseph Ellery, the South African driver, taking the inside line in the number 23 car into the corner. The cars giving each other the space and the respect. Once again, Lawrence Rule, though, being relegated into that 11th place.
Back on board with Apotolo then, and I really am so enjoying this. If we could extend the race a bit, I don't know if race control are listening here. It says we've only got 9 minutes. Can you say you made a mistake and put a 1 in front of that? Because this has been one of the races of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're looking at the fight, not for the lead, not for second, not for third. This is for 10th, 11th, and 12th place. Gloves off all the way. The 12th place, Julien Apotolo. Now moving forwards, Lawrence Rule is relegated, so he gets to 12th. Apotolo is up to 11th. Every point counts. Joseph Ellery next up the road to feel the wrath of Apotolo. Into the corner they come, under braking. Apotolo making fairly easy work of it.
Yes.
And then it's next up the road will be Joseph Ellery. Apotolo, I think the more experienced of all of these drivers around him, so putting that experience to very good use.
Loving the shot on the exit of the Challeres then, and well, here we can see, I mean, we did well to hold on to that, to be fair. That was so very nearly into the barriers, wasn't it?
A tank slapper. You can see that the...
What's this tank slapper?
I made reference to earlier conversations. The sun getting low in the sky here. It's quite late in the evening. It's about 7:10 local time. The sun very much in the eyes, and that is the second place, Gabriele Piana.
Running wide there.
Not often that you see Gabriele Piana making a mistake, and you wonder whether the BMW started to run out of brakes. So we got a yellow in turn 4, and that is for the number 40 car. That is Lawrence Rule, who's had a bit of a moment in turn 4. The car has turned around. He's done well to keep it out of the barriers and not been collected by anybody, so he should be able to rejoin. Now Well, I said he kept out of the barriers. He's gone forwards into the inside barrier, and I wonder...
A bit like your parking last night with the Red Bull car.
Very much like my parking. So he's kept it off the racing line, but this may bring out a full course yellow.
You can't leave that car. Surely he can, if he can get it moving, fine. But where it is, the back end of that car is a bit vulnerable, Brian, I would have suggested.
Absolutely. We've got less than 7 minutes remaining. Our leader is 17 minutes, I was going to say, 17 seconds clear of Gabriele Piana.
Jolly near that.
Yeah, well, it may as well be, because that is the kind of gap. Right, the yellow's cleared, so I think the Norris rule has got the beastie moving and potentially back out on track. Racing again. We'll wait for confirmation of that. Yeah, I think he's gone, so that is good news.
Well done.
6.5 minutes remaining. Right, what on earth is going on? J-Mo Hertling is leading. Gabriele Piana, after a big moment, is 17 seconds back. Max Rosam in third. Tommy Rackle in fourth. Philip Gogolok in fifth, and I can see you waving your arms.
Well, only because I'm just wondering, we look at the gap between Hertling and Piana, we'll get a live gap for you. I'm just as interested in the live gap between Piana and Rosam.
Yeah.
But we have only got 6 minutes of the race remaining, and I just wonder whether the 1, 2, 3, barring anything else, whether those gaps are just a little bit too big.
Yes, I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle, isn't it, to see those three closing in with each other. But it all could still change, and we've seen drivers making mistakes. Julien Potelot, he's not done yet, is he? 11th place. You can see Joseph Ellerine and Anton Abbé up ahead of him. So Abbé doing a sterling job in the number 17 Pro Sport Racing Aston Martin Vantage. Which
we think is ill handling because the splitter wobbling about at the back.
Absolutely.
So that makes it even more impressive. Piana, we look at right now, running in that P2 place, 17.6 seconds behind our race leader. Entertainer of the day, well, there are several candidates for that at the moment, but Gogolok is getting my vote.
Yes, mine too. I think Philip Gogolok showing great race skill and entertaining as well as we ride on board with third place and Max Rosam into the sunshine, and that really does dazzle it.
So low, isn't it?
In the sky, and the plastic windows in these cars, they're not made of glass. They make it really difficult to get a good view out along the back straight in the evening sunshine here in Nuremberg. Just 4 3/4 minutes remaining of what has been a thoroughly entertaining race. J-Mo Hertling very much in control, along with Enrique Federer at the wheel of the number 11 car. Gabriele Piana, along with Berke Besler, probably second is as good as it's going to get here, barring any big problems. And then Max Rosam, along with Denny Burnt, the last of the podium positions. J-Mo Hertling in the traffic there, so trying to put a lap on Tommy Gore. So he's up to 13th place that he's trying to put a lap on. Along the pit straight, in towards turn 1. We're not done yet, are we? Still 4 minutes remaining. Julien Potelot finally finds his route past the number 23 car of Joseph Ellerine. So that is 9th place. Every single one of these places Julien has had to really work for, hasn't he? He's fought incredibly hard to pick off every place. Next up the road is Philip Viscussion, but time is now running out. 3 3/4 minutes remaining of this race 3 of the season for ADAC GT4 Germany. Potelot is clear. For Joseph Ellerine, Axel Bengston now lining up behind as well, potentially looking to make a move on Joseph Ellerine.
Hertling, Piana, Rosam. Wow, what racing we're seeing in the ADAC GT4 Germany. This has been a truly thrilling race from start to finish, and it still ain't all over yet.
No.
With 3 minutes left to run.
3 minutes plus of the 1 lap, which is a very short lap. 53 seconds, 53.5 seconds is roughly the lap time that we have here. So not long left on this race at all. We're under the 3 minutes. Hurtling has this under control. Are there any more close battles going on? I expect there probably are. So the drivers having to focus not just on driving the car, but also looking for the grip, keeping it out of the wall. It's drivers versus a fairly hostile environment. You can see a little bit of damage from that earlier visit to the barrier for Joel Mesh, but despite that moment, to be in 13th place, not a bad showing at all, to be quite honest. Tommy Gore just behind him. Our race leader continues in the traffic. 2.25 minutes remaining. Gabriella Piana doesn't really have anything as they cross the line. So what is the gap now between first and second? There is Anton Abe in the number 17 car.
It's a big gap. That's all I'm prepared to say. 16.568, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take some kind of disaster for J-Mo Hurtling for Piana to have any shot at all at getting to the top set of the podium. Right, that is the aerodynamic disadvantage that you were talking about earlier.
And we picked that up really early on, didn't we, to be fair?
That's because we're really good, aren't we?
Well, you are.
I would just say, I think it was last year that Gabriella Piana and Mikael Schrei won the first race here at the Norisring. And Mikael Schrei is in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany. He won in the Pro-Am category this morning. There's a little spoiler for you. But Piana still carrying on and still starting every single race in GT4 Germany there's ever been. Doing a great job. And if he can bring this home on the podium, which seems very likely because we've got 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Our race lead has just exited turn 1 and is heading towards the Scholar S. And then some 16 seconds behind is Piana.
Remainder of this lap plus 2 more, I think.
Yes, that sounds about right, doesn't it? As we ride on board with third place Max Rosam. Now, number 10 has been shown. Yeah, there he is. Just making sure that was correct. So Max Rosam running very much on his own in that third place in the Podium. Of course, Max Rosam, who we have always associated with BMW for many years, it's a very different discipline for him. So to be in a podium position, he'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, good job done. And excuse my colleague alongside me pauses for a moment as he pulls his socks up. Or were you doing your laces up?
I was doing my laces up. I was tripping over. That was the problem.
Hurtling, Piana, Rosam. Then clock is 15 seconds from counting down to 0. And then we go into the plus 1 lap, of course.
Out along the back straight into the Scholar S for the penultimate time. J-Mo Hurtling and Enrico Federer. If the race finishes as it seems it's going to, it will be a perfect 3 out of 3. Raphael Renhofer and Emil Heyerdahl will be in third place, but such a long way back. And after all of that, that's Anton Abe from 13th place. And it looks like he's pulling the car off into retirement right in the closing stages of this race. Absolute shame. He has been a real entertainer. At just 1 lap from home, it looks like it's given up the ghost. 1 lap from home because J-Mo Hurtling now starts on his final lap of the race.
And it has been an extraordinary ADAC GT4 Germany race. If, as a spectator, you've stuck around to see the last race of the day, you have been treated to an absolute humdinger.
Absolutely.
From start to finish, it has been nothing but brilliant racing from these drivers. It's far from all over yet. We may be on the final lap. To heck with that, any driver is saying. If there is a centimetre I can make up, I'm jolly well going to do that.
And the good bit is we also get to do it all again tomorrow. At the moment,
what we do?
The number 11 car, J-Mo Hurtling, Enrico Federer out of the final corner. It's a perfect 3 out of 3 in 2025 for Enrico Federer and J-Mo Hurtling for SR Motorsport by Schnitzlam in the Mercedes-AMG GT4. 3 wins from 3 races. Who can stop them? Second across the line, Gabriella Piana and Berke Besler. And then in third place, we wait for Max Rosam to cross the line along with Denny Burnt. And that is the last of the podium positions. And I think Max Rosam will be pretty satisfied with that. He's had a couple of second places in the past in the BMW, but this really shows that he has arrived with the Porsche.
It was a brilliant race. And yes, Every single one of those applause is really richly deserved from all of our competitors in that ADAC GT4 Germany race. Awesome stuff. Enrico Fodera and Jamo Hertling for the SR Motorsport by Schnitzelhelm team and driver combo that has proved absolutely formidable around the Norisring circuit.
Congratulations from the SR Motorsport by Schnitzelhelm team. And the legendary team that is based somewhere near to the Nürburgring, preparing the car, and what a rocket ship they have prepared. Enrique Federer, Jamo Hertling taking the top step of the podium ahead of Berke Besler, first ever podium for him in GT4 Germany.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Along with Gabriele Piana, Denny Burnt, Max Rosam, they are the top three. Linus Harner, Tommy Rackle, Rackle's home race ahead of Henrik Still, Mr. Entertainer, Philip Gogerlock, then Andreas Jochimsen, Niels Tröger, Emil Heyerdahl, and God, the memory here, Rafael Renhofer in the 92 car, and the rest of them, which you have seen on your screen. I'd like to summarise that race. Thoroughly entertaining.
With a capital thorough. Yeah, it was brilliant. Completely captivating. You know what? You and I get to see a lot of racing. But when you see a genuinely awesome race like that, where you cannot take your eyes off the screen because of how compelling it is, that tells you that it was a brilliant race. And actually, okay, here are the top three we're going to see on the podium. But there were so many more that deserved to be on a podium for what they were doing out there on track. And I know I've extolled the virtues of Gogerlock, but he was, in the second half of this race, he was just something else. And had to take a penalty lap.
Yes, I mean, without that, who knows where he'd have ended up. But, I mean, if the podium was big enough, there's about 20 drivers on there.
I'd agree.
But, yeah, certainly, Philip Gogerlock, along with Henrik Still, that's certainly entertaining. And I would just once again shout out Tommy Rackle and Linus Harner, keeping out of trouble into that fourth place.
Can I just say, though, if I have any sorrow, it is for AB, who, right at the end of the race, you know, because that Aston Martin had been ill-handling because of the splitter that was wobbling about like a wobbly thing. Jelly. That'll be it. But had kept going and tried to capitalise on the places that and then for it all to end within sight of the checkered flag, that's a bit of a disappointment, a bitter pill to swallow, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely, and they'll want to put that one behind them and come back tomorrow. I just go back to the fourth place. This was a best ever finish in GT4 Germany for Tommy Rackle, sixth. Have been his best up until now in the number 77 car. There's also a best ever finish for Linus Harner. It had a couple of seventh places, so congratulations to them.
I have to say, Max Rosam doesn't look quite as chipper as I thought he might, but there you go.
He's probably knackered, I should think.
What is knackered?
Knackered means I want to go to bed and sleep for 12 hours. I mean, that would have been hard work. Air temperature, 29 degrees out there. They haven't got air conditioning in these cars. They are sweating it out. Into third place for Razzoon More Than Racing. The number 10 car, Max Rosam and Denny Burnt. For FK Performance Motorsport, Berke Besler and Gabriele Piana, Italy and Turkey sharing that driving seat. But who
interesting culinary combo, if ever there was one.
I like both myself. Who can stop the SR Motorsport by Schnitzelhelm Mercedes in the number 11? Once again, Enrique Federer, Jamo Hertling. You'll look at the results sheet and you'll go, oh, that must have been a bit boring because they started from pole position. Rewind the race, have a good look, because that was certainly, well, we've only had 3 races so far in GT4 Germany this year. It was easily the best one. And there is the giant flamingo that it serves as the backdrop to the point standing. 75 points, 30 points adrift now, more than a race win ahead of Rafael Renhoff and Emil Heyerdahl, the Roman Felderfeld and former champion Hugo Sassa. I would just say, though, don't be writing everyone else photographs off yet. We saw this last year. Gabriele Piana and Mikael Schrei, they were well ahead of everybody. They had won race after race back-to-back, but they did not win the championship. It can turn around very, very quickly. So it ain't all over yet. There's still plenty to come in the ADAC GT4 Germany, and plenty more to come tomorrow.
Bring it on is what I say. Bring it on. Absolutely awesome. So, drivers down there, as you can see, discussing the tactics and the strategy of what it went into that race, and be heading off up to the podium, of course, to celebrate in fine style, and richly deserving to do so as well. But as Brian had said alongside me here, actually, you know, you kind of want the podium to occupy the top 20, because each and every one in their own way delivered some fantastic racing and some fantastic moments for us. There are just now and again races like that where it is every single lap something going on, which is really, really exciting. And the thing is, from our point of view, you know, the more we see, you know, sorry, I am an exponent of rubbing is racing, and there was a bit of that in there, wasn't there?
Yes, absolutely. There was plenty of rubbing, but lots of respect as well between the drivers, which is what was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, what's not to love? And I think even those that didn't finish on the podium, surely they're going to be buzzing after such good racing, because, yes, you race to win, but you also race because you love getting the elbows out and fighting with the other drivers. Right, well, eyes to the moon. The moon here as the evening starts to descend at the Norisring. Denny Burt, Max Rosan will crawl onto the third step of the podium after what has been a hard race. As Berke Besler and Gabriele Piana. I should think Piana must have a warehouse full of trophies by now.
It's a bent mantelpiece, that's for sure.
I'm sidestepping so many jokes today. Then Enrique Verderer and J-Mo Hertling to the top step of the podium, congratulating those around them. But they certainly stamped their authority on this race, and another win for SR Motorsport by Schnitzelam. A representative from their team will come up onto the podium as well. So, time for the national anthem.
And it's about time that some silverware was awarded to our cast of 6 that are on the podium.
Yes, it
What's
is.
funny
awesome.
about that?
Well, I'll tell you later. We just, while the national anthem was going, I'd like to say we were stood enjoying the national anthem at the same time. But in fact, we were just extolling the virtues of this driver. Sébastien Ogier, the 8-time World Rally Champion. Well, he would have been entertained, wouldn't he, as he presents the trophies to the winners. But yes, we just spent the last 30 seconds. There's Wolfgang Schlosser, chairman of the Board of Motorsport of Nuremberg, who...
What a great job that motorsport club do.
Yes, indeed. And great to thank you to them for making us feel so welcome. And then from Pirelli, Mikael Blaufus, the motorsport director, a regular figure on the podiums and in the paddocks here at the ADAC events. And then a trophy for the team as well. Great trophies. And yet another trophy for SR Motorsport by Schnitzelam Racing.
Yeah.
So we squeeze up for the photographs, and then the celebrations commence. If you enjoyed that, then join us again tomorrow. We'll be back at 3:30 local time for the second race of the weekend from the Norisring. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.